What up? It's me, Wall Street, back again, ready to talk some hoops with my people. And today, I want to talk about Zion Williamson. Because I want to know if Zion is still that dude. Because there was so much hype surrounding him coming into the league and early on in the league, and I feel like that excitement has gone down a little bit because people are now just deeming him as extremely injury prone. He doesn't play games, and honestly, I can't really blame him, right? He entered the league in 2019, was the number one pick in the 2019 NBA draft. The second pick behind him was Ja Morant, who to this point has had, at least a more durable career and has honestly made more noise. And I think this debate has now formed where we're talking about if Ja Morant should have been the number one pick. And personally, I don't think Ja should have been the number one pick. I mean, I think Zion was still clearly the clear option for the number one pick, because of the talent that he has and the uniqueness that he brings to the table in terms of his size combined with his skill set and his athleticism. It's just a mixture that we don't see commonly at all. And, he only played 24 games his rookie season. He missed all of the 21 to 2022 NBA season. So he's been injury prone, and he started to lose money over it. He has, clauses in his contract now that are both tied to games played, number of games played, as well as his weight. So this guy is really being, I don't want to say micromanaged, but every little facet of, him and what he does and how he does it is being observed now. And I feel like the criticism is fairly intense. But, you guys have probably seen it by now if you've been watching, just tons of NBA content throughout the offseason. But there was a video that came out of him, and he looked a lot slimmer. He looked a lot slimmer. So they said that he's down to, like 280 right now. He's listed at 284. So, I don't know how much of a difference a 4-pound difference is making. I think the clause in his contract needs him to be down somewhere between like 270 and 275. I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But bottom line is he needs to lose weight. And the Pelicans have, really made this a big deal now, and they put it into his contract. So, how else do you incentivize people? Money's a really good way to incentivize people, saying, you're going to lose money if you don't do this, and, you can make more money if you do this, right? Things like that. So I'm really rooting for the guy. I mean, I hope he bounces back this next year, and I hope he plays a ton of games. He played 70 games this past year. That was his career high for games played in the season. And he played pretty well. I mean, he averaged nearly 23 points a game, 5 assists, 5.8 rebounds. And he shoots an incredible percentage from the floor, when you compare it to the, his height. He has a career average of 59.2% from the field, which for a guy who's 6'6" is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And he's like, people have called him, little big man, because he's basically a center in the stature of someone who would be playing small forward. So he's got so much potential. I really think Zion could average 30-plus points per game if he can stay healthy, if he can get a little bit more agile and quick, and not be so, intense on his joints, right? Like if he's, slimming down, it's going to mean that he's just going to be more durable because his style of play doesn't necessarily, it's not conducive to him being healthy with the size that he is right now, right? Like if you're thrusting that much weight around, jumping and dunking and blocking shots and doing all that shit, like you're gonna just have so much pressure on your knees, and it's gonna be tough. Pressure on your feet as well. It's just gonna be really tough to stay healthy. And he's just got to figure it out, because I think if he doesn't figure it out this next year, it's going to be tough for him. And I think people are going to start, not looking at him the same way. I mean, I think it's already started, where people are kind of like down on him and saying, oh, well, he's going to be a bust. Like, he's not a bust. Like, don't get me wrong. If he winded up being out of the league after next season, that's the only way I would consider him a bust, because these numbers don't suggest him being a bust. He has a career average of 24.7 points per game. He's only played 184 games, but he's started every single game, and he's playing 32 minutes a game over the course of his career. So he's got the potential, and he puts up the numbers. He just has to figure out how to stay healthy and do what's best for his body so that he can have a long career. Because he's good, and when he's on and he's ready and he's playing the best he can, the Pelicans are a really good team. And I feel like people have just kind of forgotten about the Pelicans because he hasn't been there. He hasn't been healthy. And this past season, he had a couple of bad moments where, him and I think Brandon Ingram were talking about how they wanted to be in Vegas and this and that, whatever. And, it seems more likely than not that they wanted to be in Vegas for the wrong reasons. It wasn't to go and win, it wasn't to go win the in-season tournament. It was to go to Vegas and around and do whatever do whatever you want, right? Like, and it's cool. I mean, he's a young guy. I think he's only like 24. So he's like, it's hard when a guy has that much money and he's that young, it's hard to control what you're going to do and control the temptation and, do what's best for you and your career and your family and all that. So I think it's taken him a little bit longer to learn, but I think he can be the leader of the Pelicans. I think people will rally behind him. He's clearly the most explosive and talented guy on that roster. They just need him to be healthy. So is he still that guy? I think so. It just depends on if he can show the world that he's still that guy.